So today we are discussing Elon Musk's birth chart. So I am Fox Red Sky. I am your astrologer, your soul coach, and I am your host for Astrology Obsessed. Today we are discussing Elon Musk's birth chart. Wow, right? I guess brilliant minds of our time. He really has a grand eagle vision for a lot of things that humanity is in deep trouble with, right? Elon Musk was born June 28th, 1971 at 6:30 a.m. in Pretoria, somewhere in South Africa. His big three, sun, moon, and rising. So Elon Musk is a Cancer sun in the first house. And I think this is really beautiful. This is a really unique position. I actually have my moon in Cancer in the first house. So the first house has to do with the ego, and the sun also has to do with the ego. But Cancer, it's a very nurturing, feeling, very super sensitive. So I feel like he was born with this really sensitive mind and this sensitive body, and so it made him very, very tuned. So kind of like certain things are almost too much for him, and he has to, like most Cancers, go and retreat into his cave, his work, his whatever it is he's got to retreat into sometimes. But in this lifetime, he's really supposed to explore his self as a caring person and be able to overcome some of those sensitivities. So that's really important as part of his soul's journey, his ego, and as part of his main persona. Now, the second most important thing is his moon, and his moon is in Virgo in the second house. Now, for those of you who don't know, Virgo energy is super detail oriented. They also kind of tend to obsess, and they also tend to worry, especially being in the moon, his emotional nervous system. I really see Elon Musk having almost like he could have a nervous breakdown, because a lot of times Virgo moons tend to work themselves up because they notice everything. They are paying attention to all the unsaid things, and their mind is working so fast. And to have this as your emotional body, your inner world, that's constantly, I'm sure he maybe had trouble with sleep in the past, but also what's really interesting with the second house, with the moon being in the second house, and this goes for all people with moon in their second house, their emotional being really plays a huge part on their emotional wealth. So they feel on top of the world, they feel great, they can accumulate huge sums of money. But if they don't, they can actually have really huge losses too. So just like the moon wanes with the phases of the moon, this placement with money, and wealth and finances can also be very, very detrimental. But it also can be great in the long run, because as long as he learns to be secure in himself and not have this constant worrying in his head, he can actually overcome that in this lifetime. Now, I knew this from the beginning, because I was like, Elon Musk, a Cancer, this doesn't make a lick of sense. But when I saw his Gemini rising, I was like, oh yes, there's my Gemini. He totally embodies a Gemini rising. He has so many ideas, so many directions. Gemini energy is, and people especially with Gemini rising, they tend to be all over the place. And this is a good and a bad thing, because it's almost like they want to start so many projects, but they got to finish the first one, So it's like, but they're brilliant, and they're really seekers of knowledge. They want to learn as much as they can. They can get bored very easily. They don't like stupid people. All the Gemini rising people that I've ever met, or anyone with a Gemini sun moon, they all tend to think that they're the smartest person in the room. And if you could be smarter than them, well, then you've earned their seat at their table, and you could definitely be their friend. So I definitely see this for our Mr. Elon Musk. So let's talk about Elon Musk's love style. And this is quite strange. I judge no one's love style. I respect everybody, whatever works for you is my motto. But we have our Venus in Gemini in the 12th house. So what I see in this is somebody who has this very, the connections that he makes in terms of love, it's a very unconscious connection. It's almost like there's like a soul, contract that they made prior, a lot of maybe past life. Like, oh, I know this person from another lifetime, and now they're coming to join me in this lifetime. Maybe there's some unfinished business there. So, and of course, Venus in Gemini likes variety. It's really hard for any air sign to kind of stay in one position. Like they're flitting all about, So, and also having it in the 12th house means that there's a lot of unknown secret lovers, and relationships that we'll never know about because, there's a lot of secrecy around this. But also this means that he has a lot of love to give to the world at large. So a lot of times people with Venus in the 12th house tend to be very famous, or your sun in the 12th house, because this is something you're giving to the world and something that you can't keep for yourself. So another thing I noticed about Elon Musk's love style is Jupiter in Scorpio. Ooh. So Jupiter, of course, is a planet of abundance and luck, and it's in Scorpio. Hello. So he's definitely a freak in the sheets. He likes a lot of variety, a lot of kink, likes to explore. He'll have no problem attracting lovers in this lifetime. He'll have a plethora, as they say, polyamorous, mini loves in this lifetime. And it's also a lot of times these loves will either make a huge impact on their life, or vice versa. So there's a lot of, because Scorpio never does anything half-assed, and we're all in it or to win it. So to see that as his love style, definitely the Venus in Gemini kind of really doesn't want to commit to a long-term relationship per se, but definitely has a lot of love to give to a lot of people. And then Jupiter and Scorpio in the 5th house, freaking the sheets, likes again, variety is the spice of life, many lovers. Okay, so the next topic is Elon Musk's fight style, or I would like to say drive. So Elon has a very interesting Mars placement. So we have our Mars in Aquarius in the 8th house, which can be a little bit of a darker place. So this is where I kind of see his persona, his personality going to some of the more dark. He really can see humanity from a large perspective. That's Aquarius, then that Aquarius energy. But he also sees the fight, the way that sometimes the world can be a little cutthroat, a little cold. And I think even from his own family, he might have experienced some of this. This also talks about having an inheritance, but maybe a little bit of a dark inheritance. But he definitely will fight with intelligence. If he's gonna fight you, he's gonna come from a place of I have these facts, this is what's going on, and not of a place from any, he's very smart, again, using that air energy to come to the table, and look at it from a larger perspective. So also, I want to mention too, with 12th house Venus, I see some secret enemies. He definitely has some haters and some people that don't like that he's stirring up so much stuff. Aquarius, Mars, they're like the rebel, they want to kind of shake up the foundation. It's time to quit doing it the old way that's broken. Let's do it some way that's more feasible and that's actually going to work for the future, for the long term. So that's kind of where I see it. And I also see that that's a little place of a darkness. So maybe he does have a little bit of, maybe humanity worth saving. 3 things that I would like to highlight, because I don't want to go too extensively into his chart. I just kind of want to hit the basics. So the first thing I want to talk about is 3rd house Uranus and Pluto, also in the 3rd house in Virgo. So the 3rd house has to do with communication. And I really see this is where his ingenuity and his genius is in his chart, because Uranus in Libra, always looking at the checks and balances in the 3rd house, means that he is kind of, you know, it's constant sorting with him. Like, okay, well, this works, this doesn't, this works, this doesn't, you know, and coming up with a new idea. Let's throw away this old thing that's not working. Let's bring in the new thing that's working. But Pluto and Virgo in the third house also signifies to me somebody who can pay attention to the details, but at the same time, this can be a detriment. You know, like where Pluto is in your chart, where it's in your chart is where your legacy is. So he, you know, having to do with the third house has to do with communication, media. So he's going to leave this huge legacy. But I also see it sometimes where it almost blows up in his face. Maybe he says something that just doesn't sit right with the world at large or certain people at large. And because he's so nitpicky or so precise with his words, it might tend to make some people turn off to him. So I respect this, you know, but Virgo in the third house in Pluto with Uranus in Libra, I really feel like that makes him really good at spotting what's gonna work, really being a good, you know, inventive person. So the second thing I'd like to bring into our forefront, the second highlight, is the fifth house, Jupiter Scorpio with this and Neptune's in the fifth house as well in Sagittarius. So this is interesting because fifth house is usually ruled by Leo, and this has to do with creativity. So he's really good at coming up with ideas, and there's a part of him that wants to, you know, basically, you know, use his imagination and his ability to think outside of the box to help humanity. And this is a beautiful place of being of service and a beautiful place of creativity. And this is where his luck, and this is what he's come here to do as a soul, as he's incarnated in this body. So we're almost at the end. So then his midheaven is in Aries, which makes him a born leader. He's meant to own his own company. He cannot work for other people. This is just the way. If your midheaven is in Aries, you should not be working for anyone else. You should own your own company, or you should, you know, you should be the one in charge for sure, because they have a very hard time taking orders, Aries midheaven people. So the last thing I would like to talk about is his path of life. And something new that I want to share with y'all is your Mayan symbol. So Elon Musk's path of life is a 7. So he is a seeker of knowledge his whole life. That is what he has come here to do. That is what he is trying to accomplish in this incarnation. Now his Mayan symbol, or his Mayan astrology symbol, is the world bridger. So he's trying to bring the old world and the new world so that we can basically survive and be able to move forward in this lifetime. So these are Elon Musk's soul's mission. Well, awesome. I'm so happy that you listened to me. I really am a fan of Elon Musk. I really think he has a sexy brain. I'm a nerd myself, so there's certain nerds that I really like, you know, I find attractive intellectually. If this is your first time to my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Fox Red Sky, and you know, I have some links below. You can always get a one-on-one coaching session with me, or one-on-one astrology session where I get there to talk about your natal chart or where you are progressively, and I love doing some mystery. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for listening to me, and wherever you are in the world, I'm currently in Costa Rica. Wherever you are in the world, I'm sending you all the love. Mwah. God bless you. Thank you.